Get ready for the Work Better podcast. I'm Tori McQueen, here to share stories on what's working and what's not in business and in life from humans all over the world. I believe everyone's version of success looks different, but in the end, we should all love our life's work. And in doing so, live a life of complete fulfillment. And if you don't love your work, I'm hoping you'll tune in and uncover some inspiration here to work better. Hey guys, today's guest is an award-winning executive consultant and speaker with over 25 years of experience across technology, federal government, even aviation. As a founder of her own company and certified project management professional instructor, she empowers mid-career women to not only achieve their PMP certification, but to shift their mindset and unlock greater opportunities in every aspect of their careers. She has risen from being a project manager in her 9 to 5 job to now serving as the chief impact officer of her own company. She's been featured on various podcasts and has shared her expertise as a keynote speaker on prestigious stages all over the globe. Whether you're interested in learning about PMP certification, branching out from corporate into entrepreneurship, or negotiating for a raise or even more vacation time at your current role, this conversation is for you. All right, everyone, let's welcome Tamara McLemore. Hello, excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Okay, so let's tell everybody where you're from and what you do.
Woo, where am I from? I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, but I live in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta for over 20 years. And so this is now home. And what do I do? That is a loaded question. I am an IT project manager. I've been doing it for 20 years and I love it. I feel like it's not even work. But right now, I'm teaching women, mostly women, on how to pass the PMP certification the first time and within 30 days. So that is my new love and my passion.
And you do that as a business on its own. So do you still currently have a job, like a 9 to 5 job is what people would say? And you've kind of ventured out on your own journey, or tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So BC, before COVID, is what I call BC. Was doing both. I was doing both. I was working as at Delta Airlines for as a contractor, love working. I'm one of those weird individuals that really like to work. I love doing project
Oh
management.
gosh, that's not weird at all.
I like going into the office, being around people. I did like the variety to work from home, but I loved it. However, with my business, it just started to take off with like word of mouth. And I was teaching maybe every quarter. And let's say for you wanted your PMP, I would have you get maybe two or three of your friends together. Somebody else would get two or three of their coworkers, and we would create a class. And I would do that probably quarterly.
Oh,
Well,
wow, okay.
yeah. So fast forward to COVID, literally, I went to sleep and my class was like, people that were gonna register were like, "I'm scared. I need to stack my money." I went from no one wanting to sign up, woke up the next morning to a full class because the other spectrum of that is everybody wanted to upskill themselves. They had time on their hands. And
Mm.
so that's how my business was born. My full-time business was born out of COVID. Well, most people are drinking and partying. I was working. My business was built.
Oh,
Oh,
I love that. And it's so funny because my podcast, like as I've gotten to introduce myself to people and hear people's stories, there were many businesses that were built in COVID. And it just goes to show that even when there's like, I should say, like downtimes or like tragic events or things that happen, it blossoms new ideas and new doors open, right? So I love hearing that. So you do these classes and you'd have people come and want to get their PMP, but I've been watching your stuff and it looks like what makes you different is that yours is almost accelerated. So people don't have to, you know, go
absolutely.
through 6 months worth of work? I mean, how long explain to the audience, like, what is a PMP? Why do people want it? And why is yours different or what makes you unique?
Oh, I love that question. So the PMP certification, let me start there. It is the project management professional certification, and it used to be a want, like you wanted to have it. It was nice to have, preferred. Now it's a requirement. It's a requirement on job descriptions and not just for tech. I have engineers, of course, but I have people in education, healthcare, doctors, teachers, principals, you name it, executive admins, you name it, event planners. They are required to get this PMP certification now so that they can move up in their career because it's cheaper than an MBA, but it has so many of the knowledge areas that you need to manage up. So that's the first thing is that it's a requirement for a lot of organizations. And we know in this market, this job market, you want to stand at the top. So if it says required or preferred, you better have it. So that's the first thing. And the reason why I've condensed my class, this is going to sound real funny, is because I failed. I failed the exam. Tori.
Mm.
Look, I failed not once, but twice. It took me 3 chances, 3 tries to actually pass. And at that time, I worked for the federal government, and they sent me back and forth to DC from Atlanta, took all these classes, got a master's certificate, failed. Then
Oh,
I took a refresher course. I went to PMI Atlanta for another 12-week course, failed. And then my husband got me a tutor. He's like, "Girl, like, look, we gotta do something." And finally, I was able to pass, and what my tutor told me was like, "You Tamara, you know the information, it is the questions." And so my program is condensed. Your question is, why is my program so short and condensed? Because first of all, I understand the market, and my niche is women, and we learn differently. We have like our 9 to 5 and our 5 to 9. Either our kids, our fur babies, our spouses, our partners.
we're always on something. We're always working.
We're always working, and so we don't have time. We don't have that kind of time. And once you look at how much time you have and you carve that out, women, we can get some stuff done in a small amount of time.
Oh my god,
And,
yeah.
and so once make sure that women understand that mindset, their why for their kids to get the increases, they have to get it, they get it done. I have one particular person and I just love her cohort. It was about 20, 25 people in her cohort. 4 women passed within 4 days. 4 days. And let me tell you, one person, she had twins, and her twins were under 5. And a
Yep.
lot of people, women with kids, that I call it kids who can't microwave, they can't fend for themselves.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
those women really get it done.
There is no wasted space, and I love what you're saying because I preach this all the time. Like, I grew my business and I was in real estate. I still am in real estate and I have a team, but I started and I got out of corporate software sales because I was a mom. I realized, there's a lot of inefficiencies here. I could just do stuff, I can get a lot done and be home and not pay someone else, all the things. And the same thing with real estate, when I look back, I'm like, if only people can just switch their mindset and think like, you don't need you don't need to
Do all these
waste
steps.
time. You
Correct.
need to waste time checking boxes when you can literally just jump ahead and you know,
That
use
part.
the time that you have and you'll get it done.
Absolutely. So that's what I've done with my program. And guess what? We have a good time. We he, as you can see, my background is hot pink. Even my golf ball is hot pink. So literally, I'm a girly girl. So that's my niche. I do have a few good men because my husband said I was discriminating against men. So I do allow men to be in my program. However, we do not sugarcoat it. They have to get in where they fit in, because it has got to be a comfortable space for women. It has to be. It has to be.
Ugh. Yes, and I think as more and more women hit the job force, and like you said, we are always working, and if especially women in transition too,
Yes.
they don't have time to waste. They want to just get in and get out. And so the PMP, like, who is your typical I know you said you work with women, but do you typically
Yes.
work with women who are already in their career or women who are transitioning into a new career?
Actually, both. It's women that are in their career, and some of them feel like they're stuck or they've plateaued, and they either wanna move up or they wanna move out and do something a little different, but still in the same industry, but more challenging, something like that. So it's a sweet spot. Like they know they can stay there and just get the check and have a cushy job, but they want more. So that's my sweet spot with women.
And what would you say, like, when you say they want more, and what is the usually the salary difference of like somebody who has a PMP versus somebody who doesn't? And does that vary
Woo!
quite a bit?
Oh my God. So people that have the PMP, I wanna say it's 25% increase, when you get the PMP. However, I do things a little different, and I am a certified career coach, and I'm going to have women go ask for their money. And as we know, women are not paid the same amount as men, so we're already behind. And so when I'm helping my women negotiate, they mostly get 30 to 40% increases because we're already behind. And so I help them understand what they bring to the table. They make a quick brag book of the bullets that they contribute. You know, I've increased this, I've decreased XYZ, I brought this to the table. Give me my money. But let me be clear, Tori, it's not all about money. It's about
Mm-mm.
flexibility. It's about, oh my gosh, the number one thing I negotiate is vacation. I just got off the call coaching someone. I'm like, ma'am, what is a vacation looking like? And crickets. They didn't even put her vacation in. I'm like, "You need to go back immediately, and we need to understand what vacation versus PTO, what and, sick time looks like." So all these things. I have women who will not look at a company unless they have IVF.
Oh,
We're not
yeah.
even looking at a company. That's 25,000 a pop, a cycle. Well, it was back in the day. It's probably cheaper now, but you have to look at what is the company providing you? What type of
Oh,
benefit? So it's so much more, and paternity leave and, partner leave, whatever your situation is that sets up your family, you need to look at a company that is gonna be inclusive of that. So that's what we're looking at, and that's the benefits that the PMP certification can give you because now you have options
and
in the job
leverage.
and
And
leverage. There you go.
oh, I love all that so much that you hit on that because I think a lot of people miss that. Whether it be an employer that misses it as a benefit or women don't really see that as a viable option to be able to negotiate in this day and age when in all reality almost everything is negotiable with a job.
Everything, everything.
So,
Absolutely.
okay, so let me ask you this then. How long have you been so you did the PMP classes and that was kind of seems like a natural thing cuz you liked it and you just started teaching others how you did it. How did you start getting into the whole career coaching then at that moment? And then where did that start in COVID also?
Well, that started before COVID. So this is a funny story. So I was a contractor at Delta Airlines, and all the managers, they had a lot of us project managers. Some people manage 50 people, a lot of people. And I just got the reputation for helping people. And I never
Yeah.
forget, I was in the bathroom one day and this lady was like, "Is your name Tamara?" Like she's whispering, "Is your name Tamara?" And we're washing our hands, and I'm looking under the stall like, "Yes, but why are we whispering?" Like, well, and she was like, "Well, I was referred by such and such, who's a general manager, to come talk to you." And then I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So come to my office, which was code for come downstairs to Starbucks on campus and let's talk. And so I would get people over and over. People were referring people to me, meaning management and employees like Tamara can help you out with the resume. If you're interviewing on campus in a different business line, she'll help you. She's going to help you network. And literally, I got so busy, and my consultant company made me an on site consultant coach. And I was like, "What is that?" And they're like, "You're doing it."
That is so funny. Okay, so you were already working and then everyone's like, "Hey, she's knows how to help," and you naturally were helping people, and then the
Correct.
demand was just calling to you.
Absolutely. So then I was like, wait a minute. At one point, I decided to be a domestic engineer. Let me back up a little bit. You know what a domestic engineer is?
I mean, you can please explain to everybody.
It is a housewife.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so I wanted to be a domestic engineer. My husband's like, "That is gonna get old really quick." And he had an assignment in Qatar in the Middle East, and so he wasn't even here. And he was right. I got bored like within weeks
Of
because who's
course.
gonna go to lunch and spa? Like after a couple weeks, it's boring. And so people start referring people to help them, their friends. And so I would have all the IT people meet me at Starbucks. And then I would have all the other people meet me at Barnes and Noble. And then people were just referring people. I was like, stop. Nobody refer anybody else. Stop, stop, stop. What is this? And so
Yeah.
I went to get certified as a certified coach, just trying to see what is this thing that I have and why are people referring people and people are getting raises and promotions and my husband's like, "Girl, you need to charge. Do you know
Oh.
how much people pay for this? That is a business." And I'm just like, "No, I'm just helping them out, a friend of a friend of a friend." He's like, "Girl, if you don't get an EIN number, a LLC, and that is a business." And so that's what I did.
Oh my gosh, this is the best. Okay, so let me get this straight, just so we can fully understand the picture of this.
Yes,
You had your career, you're working, PMP, you kinda did these classes, then you're like, "Listen, I wanna be a stay-at-home parent. I wanna be stay at home, let me just try this out." So you stayed at home, obviously, you were like, "Well, I'm kinda bored," and then you just started helping people more.
correct.
Okay,
Yes.
I love this because I think there, especially women out there that want to be stay at home, they want what they really want is to be present and to have control over their schedule because they have a really
Correct.
big why. And it's funny that sometimes you just land in these things where your strength just starts and your magic just starts to build a business without you even knowing.
I love it, and you just said something, strength, and when I worked for the federal government, we took strength finders, and that's when I learned what my actual strengths were. The number 1, I'm a learner. I have to be learning or I'm not growing and I'm bored and I've checked out.
Mhm.
Then I'm a connector, I'm an activator, so all of my documented strengths, I was working in them, and so it did not feel like work, so I was like, "I should
Mhm.
not charge for that." However, one day my husband was like, how much just go online and I already knew how much those PMP classes were, how much, coaching was. Back in the day, it was $1,000. Well, you got 25 people in the boot camps, that I'm just volunteering for, $25,000 and then I had a waiting list and I'm doing it for free. Make it make sense. It doesn't, but I was doing it.
'Cause you enjoyed it, because you were in your zone of genius.
Absolutely.
Ah, okay, so now let's talk about how okay, once your husband was like, "Listen, lady, you not only are a domestic diva at home, you're also building a business, and now you're becoming a business owner." So, what does that look like? What was that next step for you? Did you actually go get an EIN and get your LLC? And how did you first start taking these referrals and charging them? Like, what did that even look like?
Well, I cannot tell a lie. I actually went back to work. I was like, "This is too much." I know
I
the
love
9
that.
to
Okay.
5. I just wanna be honest. I went back to work and
Mm.
the demand just kept getting growing and growing because I'm in corporate, then more employees and
Version.
more coworkers and friends. And then I was like, "Okay, I do need to come up with some packaging." And so I got a coach and she helped me come up with my pricing and my packaging, and I just started charging. And people are getting results and they're like, "Okay." They weren't even bulking at the price. They're like, "Okay, how do I pay you?" I'm like, "Oh, wait 1 second. Let me see.
Let me see. Let me see.
Let me see." And so that's how my business started. At the time, I lived in a high rise in Buckhead. So even when I had face to face clients, they can come and sit with me. I would take them to lunch. So I loved it until I just could not do it anymore. When COVID hit, it was very clear that this is what you need to do full time.
Oh, okay. So now we're gonna unpack this again because I love that you said first off, I love that I could sense some hesitation when you were like, I'm not gonna lie, I actually got a 9 to 5. Like that, I've thought about that a lot. And I'm always curious, like, why do people have such a negative connotation about going back to a 9 to 5? I think entrepreneurship is glorified. And you know, I think people forget that it's okay to go to something set that you can learn because guess what? You made all those connections.
Correct.
You are in front of so many people, especially at a 9 to 5 where you're constantly learning something and you are on a team. And if you're not remote, then you are with people every single day networking
Abs
while you're getting paid to learn. So
absolutely.
a 9 to 5, as much as I heard your hesitation, like, I love that you shared that because I think a lot of people think, "Oh, I need to jump in full bore with this entrepreneurship thing," and then they drown, and then they think it's not for like, I mean, "I can never do this," and then they suffer. I love that you went to the 9 to 5, and then you kinda were on your off time trying to figure out how to piece
Yes.
it together. But in the meantime, connecting and using your skills to get
Absolutely.
in front of other people, like, why not? Why not?
Absolutely. And I will say it's a mindset because your parents tell you go to school, get a good job, went back and got an MBA, you have all this education, and now you're just gonna be an entrepreneur. Like, what is that? Like, your family wants you to have your head examined. That you're gonna leave
Oh,
this nice, cushy job to do what? Like
oh,
they
see,
they
there's
could
that
not
too, yeah. Mhm.
they could not understand. They knew I had something, but what if something happens? What if somebody doesn't pay you? People put their stuff, their issues in your head. And so when I left the next time, it was way different. I had clients. I felt very comfortable. I had referrals. I had companies as clients as well. And so it was way different, way different.
Oh, and you mentioned a coach helped you
Yes.
put the packaging together. So were you in kind of the personal development space while you're at work, like, all the time? Or is that something where like, did it from the sounds of your story, it just sounds like everything flows so wonderfully. But I wanna hear, like, the chaos. You started getting all these referrals and then, like, you got a coach. Like, what about that coach actually helped you to put together everything?
The first coach, she made us understand, never forget this. She said it was maybe in a room of 300 people.
Mhm.
And she was like, how many people are charging for their services? Out of 300 people, maybe five stood up and said they were charging. And then she
Oh.
said, how many people are helping people? Raise your hand. How many people's clients are getting results? Like all this stuff. And we're all raising our hand. And she's like, damn it, that's a business. You should charge. And so it was the mindset that we needed all these certifications and all this stuff to be able to charge. And she was like, I'm glad you're here, but you don't need this. We're going to help you put a package, get confidence and XYZ, but you don't need this to have a thriving coaching business. And so once I got that, I'm like, yeah, and I had my little confidence. And so that was my first coach. The second coach helped me with the business. I will say that was probably premature. I will say now I'm starting to see what she was talking about, but I think I pulled the gun too soon with her. And I have an amazing coach now that I'm just going straight to the top because now I'm a little more mature in my business. So I've had several coaches. I believe in investing in yourself.
Oh, I love that. And tell me, so let's say COVID hit and
Yes.
you got your coach, you set your packaging, you started that. From COVID to now, what has that journey looked like for you?
Woo, it has been absolutely amazing. First, I started just with B2C business, just myself to consumers, individual consumers, which I did really, really well the first 2 years. Like I could barely keep up.
Yeah.
And so did really well. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little burned out,
Oh,
just
I
like,
get
"Well."
it. The B2C's rough, I feel like.
Yes. And so my coach, I hired somebody, I got a virtual assistant, and now I have a program manager. And so I'm starting to hire more instructors, things like that. In addition to that, now I'm doing corporations, private classes. I love that because I have these relationship with these organizations or somebody, they already know my work. They want me to upskill. They can put 10 to 20 people in one class where I don't have to market and harass people and just all this stuff. It's already built in. I love that. And now going back to my original roots, federal government. So now I'm doing classes with the federal government as well. And so it is really transforming into a full-blown organization, and I'm so excited. And that was a result of my coach just opening up my mind, like, "You have a gold mine. You can't do it yourself. You need to hire people, and the more people I hire, the more I'm able to do and work in my zone of genius."
Yes, and that mindset that you're talking about, was it hard for you to hire first to see that that's what you needed?
Well, it was
That
so
was
hard. It was so hard. And let me say, even after I hired, my virtual assistant had to turn me in. She's a contractor. Like, literally, I got on the call one day and her account manager was on there. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm in trouble. And they praised me for doing some things, but they had to like hit my hand and say, Tamara, you need to give her more work. You need to involve her. You need to let her be on the meeting so she can kind of get your voice and understand how you work. And so I had to learn that skill because as a project manager working in corporate, you're doing everything yourself. You are relying on coworkers sometime, but sometime you're not. So it's different when you're handing your baby to somebody else and you're like, I don't know this person. Yes, I hired them, but I don't know. Got to have the nanny cam. I don't know. So it
oh,
was very hard at first.
yes, and I can relate to that, and it's hard to think like, "Oh, I don't wanna waste their time, they don't need to see this, I can just do this, I can" like, you forget the things that they can take off your plate when you
Correct.
actually empower them to do so.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so great. Hey there, friends. Are you in business and wanting to get more clients over the next 6 weeks? Well, I've got something just for you, the 5831 Method Session and Guide. It's all about simplifying your strategy to attract and close those dream clients. No more guesswork. Think of this as a little one on one session with me to figure out the exact strategies to gain those next clients to close. When you jump on board, you'll snag a downloadable guide and step by step video session with yours truly, so we can tailor this method to fit your unique business and goals. And imagine this, in just under an hour session, you'll have a custom roadmap ready to roll out over the next 6 weeks. So what are you waiting for? No matter what business you're in, head on over to torymcqueen.com/method. That's torymcqueen.com/method, or find the link in the show notes to get more clients today. Okay, so now you're in, so do you still do B2C? Do you do all of it? Your
Absolutely.
organization
I
does all of it.
I d yes, I do, but I have downsized that part. So I don't do classes every month like I used to. During COVID, a couple months, I did 2 classes. How do I do 2-week classes a month? That almost took me out. So I have slimmed down the classes that I'm doing, straight to consumer.
And are all of your corporations, so are the corporations bringing you in and saying, "Hey, we've got 20 employees we want to get their PMP certs. You're telling me this is going to take them 2 weeks?" Like, does the corporation hire you to train them, or do the individuals pay for that?
It's the corporation, but the thing is, it's normally from an individual at that organization that has taken my boot camp. So, for instance, the Army is huge, so I'm not giving away which brand, which
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
division,
That's fine.
but they contacted me. They emailed me because what I didn't realize, I had about 12 people on a particular contract come through my program over maybe a year or so. And I mean white, black, um, Indian, developers, project managers. It was a wide variety, and I just really didn't realize it. And what they noticed was the people that worked on this particular contract were different than other people that had the PMP because I'm not just getting people to pass the exam, I'm actually teaching project management. And so that's how I'm getting a lot of my government and my corporate
Oh.
clients because I have somebody in that organization and they're like, "This person is showing up a little different than everybody else with the certification."
Well, that's so funny because, again, I'll relate it back to real estate, right? It's like people can go get their real estate test and
Yes,
know nothing about what to do. Like, okay, just like a driver's test. You can go take a driver's test. Great, you passed it, but it doesn't mean you're a good driver. Like, you got to get on the road. You got
absolutely.
to know, how to read the sign, everything. And so I could totally see how, because you have that background, you can explain, okay, here's the test stuff you need to know, but here's the
Mhm.
actual information and the job that you're gonna be doing that support.
Correct, and that's what we're doing every night. That's exactly what we're doing. People are giving their real life scenarios in that class. The biggest I won't say complaint, but the biggest thing people say is, "Where were you today?" or "Where were you yesterday when I had this situation?"
Oh.
No, I love it because it's real life, and if somebody in that class is having that situation, half the class has it as well, and so they're able to go back the next day and say, "You know what? We're gonna do things a little different. We're gonna slow this project down. We're gonna talk to the customer. We're gonna make sure that their budget matches their requirements. They have beer budget and champagne taste. We need to nip this in the bud." Whatever it is, they have this skills, the knowledge, the vocabulary, and the know-how to speak up and to manage a project effectively. So that is the difference with my boot camp and other boot camps.
And you're more practical and hands-on, it sounds like, than other trainers. I think other trainers just, "These are the questions, these are the answers, these are the questions."
Yeah, man, we're not doing any of that. We do that on Saturday, we go through the drills, but we really, really are going through we don't read the case studies in the book. We're picking case studies that people are working every day in their job, and we use those. And then we use my real life examples. I'm gonna tell them how many times I was embarrassed in a meeting or a stakeholder tried to get me fired, did not like me, and how I was able to turn it around, and just all the project failed and we got it back on track, and so they get to learn through my everyday projects as well.
Oh, that's so good, and I mean, it shows that, like, by how much you've been, referred to, that people don't really care how much it is. If they see that someone else is successful, they want that, right? So your
Yes.
reputation seems to have taken off because of other people's success, and that says a lot about you, I think.
Thank you. It's so funny when people ask me, "How much is it?" I'm like, I may send them to my website." Like, I don't even answer the question because you don't go to Neiman or Saks and say, "How much is it?" Like, "Do you want it or not?" Like, you
Yeah.
may be a little sticker shock, but if you want it, you're gonna get it. Now, you can go to Family Dollar or Wally World and do that, but I'm not that. So don't no.
Oh, did it take you a while to get that mindset, or were you confident in that right away?
I was absolutely not confident right away. Which is what my coach helped me with. So I'll full disclosure, Rachel Rogers is my coach. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
Rachel Rogers, really?
Yeah. Yeah, so she's
You're
my
an
coach, and
author.
so yeah, we should all be millionaires, and I just told this story earlier. I'm in her mastermind, and we were in Portugal, and I was up getting coached, and I was telling her what all my clients were receiving, all their raises, promotions, and when I told her how much I was charging, oh my god, like, she threw an ink pen at me, like, immediately, like, "What?" And I knew I
She
needed
gave
to
me like a
charge.
broke bee. Like, what
And the crazy thing was I was inching up on the price. I would inch, inch, inch up. I just felt it was my own blockers to say, I just can't go up. But let me tell you how it's just in your mind. So, literally, in that mastermind, on our break, whatever she coached you on, you implement it immediately. And so I had my team start working on the website just to update the pricing. And so then on my next breakout with her, I'm like, well, do I need to announce it? Do I need to do a 3 month? Like, how do I do this? She was like, no. And literally, we just updated it. We didn't make an announcement. When you went, you noticed the price had increased, but some people didn't know the price at all. So it didn't even matter.
Yeah.
And very few people barked at it. The only people that barked at the price were people that had their companies pay for it and got approval at that lower price. But all we did was break the price up. Their company paid one price, and I took a payment from them for the second half. But no, it was no problem. It was my mindset that I had to change.
Oh, there's a trend here, or a pattern that I'm seeing, that mindset, as you started to shift and grow, your mindset has been exercised.
Oh my God, to the roof.
Now, you still coach people to get their PMPs, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
It seems that when you're on this journey and you're now, that's what you do, that's your job, and now you're kind of a coach in general. Now, do you get people coming to you like, wait, how did you build your business from PMP coaching? Like, how, and now do they want external help on other things, or is it still very focused on PMP?
So what I have done was people still wanted to work with me. They got a lot of good results, but they're like, "How do I continue to work with you?" And that was my dilemma. So Rachel helped me put together a coaching package. And so I have in my mastermind. But the caveat to that is you had to have been in my PMP boot camp. We already had that rapport. They know my crazy tactics. We just gel together. It's a continuation. It's because we're family. We're friends and family. I'm all in your business. I'm like, "Girl, you got daycare, you got double daycare. You need to go ask for that money."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
our you got after school sports, you have a 15-year-old that is gonna need a paid off car in full. So I'm really in your business to help you, go negotiate and ask for money. And so now I have a mastermind, but you had to have worked with me. My inbox is full of people that want to work with me. I don't work with people off the street that have never worked with me before. Only one person that did not work out well, but what she did is she did the reverse. The only person this is a funny story. Woo! So she had her PMP and she came to me,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "I don't understand why she doesn't understand." And I just couldn't get it because she was maybe fresh off a couple weeks of having her certification. Well, the next session, I wanted to go first because I was all ready to hit that refund button, quick, fast, in a hurry. Well, she said, "Well, Tim, I want to talk to you first." And I'm like, "No," but she went first. And she said that her and her husband couldn't understand why she didn't understand me because he could hear our sessions. Well, she said, "Well, I have a proposal for you." I said, "Do tell." She decided that she wanted to reverse engineer this. She was going to actually get in my boot camp so that now she can actually learn project management. And that's what we did. And she is one of my highest, almost one of my highest grossing people with her significant raise because she had her PMP. However, she got in my boot camp and learned project management. And so I knew that you had to go through my program, but she was evidence and an example of you have to go through my program. Otherwise, I'm not coaching you. The end.
Because she didn't understand the lingo.
She didn't. She just learned enough to pass the exam.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a difference because now you have to show up, you have to interview, you're talking to executives, you're talking to engineers, you're talking to stakeholders, customers, and you have no idea what they're talking about because you memorized it for an exam and now you've done this brain dump and you have no freaking idea what's going on. It's not going to work.
Well, and that's so fun that she can be your success story now.
She is. I'm so proud of her. So proud of her.
Well, tell me where you see your biggest wins. Where do you see
My
your
biggest
biggest wins? Like in the last 6 months where you're just like, these are the wins that I live for.
the biggest wins are my people are getting job promotions not even a year within their organization. So they not only got the job in this market, that's saying something in
Mhm.
itself, but they're getting recognized, they're getting I have a couple clients that got raises and bonuses, and their company's laying off at the same time, and they got a promotion. And this is not isolated to a couple people. This is my tribe because I coach them different. So I would say that is my biggest success because now they're able to go on multiple family vacations, pay for their kids' tuition, like I said, buy their teenager a car cash and not have to refinance it. And so those are my biggest wins, and I'm super excited to even elevate that even more.
Oh, that is so wonderful to hear, especially with a lot of people having a hard time now. And would you say that AI has played a big role in the way people are getting jobs and getting promotions or seeing results at all? Or
Not
has that been an
not
issue at
like
all?
It hasn't been an issue at all. I do have clients that I have a client I just got off the call with. She's interviewing for an AI position. It's funny you say that, but AI has been around forever. We're just seeing it on the consumer side. And so do we if you're interested, if people are interested in artificial intelligence, absolutely get into it. We need to understand it, but it is not going to hinder you. It's only going to help you, you know. So I don't see any, yeah,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
doubt.
And, where would you say, it sounds like you did the PMP and now you're also like, if someone gets their PMP certificate and you help them get that in 2 weeks, what is it sounds like you continually coach them if they do that, right? So, are you on like a
Absolutely.
12-month program, or do you just continually once they're in your tribe, they're in your tribe?
It's funny you say that. I just did a beta and it was, I believe, for 4 months. And once again, Rachel told me it needs to be for at least a year. And I was like, I don't have a year worth of content or material. I'm doing this for 4 to 6 months.
Right.
Well, guess what? She was right. So we did 2 months, we did a bonus, and then we did another bonus, and they all came to me and they're like, "We're going nowhere." So they said, "You can have another mastermind. You'll just add us to them or add them to us, but we're going nowhere because this is continuous." And so I'm evolving. I just had to change my mindset. Once again, I'm coachable. I have a coach to understand now they're going to the next level. You just don't leave them. So
Yeah.
it's an ongoing process. So right before this call, I had a client. She's in my mastermind. She was a contractor. She got an offer from the company she's contracting with. She's only been there 6 months. And we start having this conversation at like month 3 or 4. So she got her offer this week. In addition to that, she's interviewing for another position, an amazing position. And so can't leave her just hanging. Absolutely not. And then when she gets that job, we need to, talk about what's next and next and next. So
Mhm.
I'm super excited to continue the journey with these ladies.
Well, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, how wonderful is that you're not just coaching them to get their license. You actually have brought them into your community and continuing to help them with their with their not only their careers but advancing continually as they get better at what they do, which I think is very
Absolutely.
very unique.
Is it really? It should not be.
I think it is, especially, to have like I do see a lot of coaches in the entrepreneurial space, right? So like you mentioned Rachel Rogers, and like there's tons of other coaches in that space that they help entrepreneurs. And I think the thing with entrepreneurship is that there you can see that things are continually growing, right? And then you're constantly having to adjust your mindset and adjust that. Whereas, and I think in a corporate space, people are conditioned to think in small increments, right? Like, "Oh, I'll
Got
get my little
you.
raise, I'll get my little bonus, I'll get my another cert maybe, or I'll get this," and then they don't necessarily I don't feel, unless a lot of it's internal corporation training, like, within an organization, um, I just feel like people who are in the 9 to 5 and have a career don't get the coaching that they need. They don't usually have, like, somebody coaching them through their journeys, I don't think. Unless
You're okay. You're absolutely correct. And like you said, I have a different mindset now. So I'm like, really? But because I've been in the entrepreneur space
yes, you
and
are.
like I said, my number one strength is a learner. So I'm always grasping
Uh-huh.
for knowledge and information. So
Mhm.
when you said that, that caught me off guard because I always invest in myself. I have
Yes.
so many people that are waiting on their organization. Well, since their organization's not going to pay, they can't do it. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? This is for
Mhm.
you. And so they're not my tribe if they're not going to do it just because their organization isn't going to pay. They're just not my tribe.
But you're also tying it back to teaching them how to ask for a raise, how to get more vacation, how to get that. Whereas I think some people in a corporate environment don't, they're like, yeah, I can better myself, but then what? Like they don't really know how to take that back and negotiate on their own behalf, right? I think that
Yes.
That is what I'm saying is the pieces that seem so
Gotcha.
unique, is that I do think corporations like for their employees to get better. They want them to get better, but then they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait, they're coming back and they're knowing how to negotiate now." They don't teach them how to they don't want them to have more leverage, but they just want them to be better. So I think that is very, very unique and and a very high value that you give people.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will say I've been doing this my whole career. And so I'm very fortunate. And so sometimes I forget that I'm a little unique. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm like, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's so awesome. Now, where do you see your business going in the next 3 years?
Whoa. I see this as a eight-figure business. Like I said, going to corporations as well as federal government, international. I've taught in Dubai, I've taught in India, I spoke in Puerto Rico. So I love to travel. And so I just see this just growing and growing and having more instructors and more coaches under my belt.
Oh, I love that. And do you have I know you mentioned being a stay-at-home domestic gal. Do you have children? Do you have a family that comes with you on this journey, or what does that look like for you?
It's so funny. I actually don't have biological children. I have god kids, I have nieces and nephews, and
Okay.
they're all very expensive. They're all very expensive. So I still need
Yeah,
because
they are.
I'm the one that call when your parents say no, or they really need things that their parents can't afford. So I have to have my coin. So I want my whole family to travel with me, my friends travel with me. So absolutely, I want everybody to come. Everybody's welcome.
Oh, I love that. Now, what if somebody who doesn't have their PMP is just like, "You know what? I love your energy. I wanna work with you. I wanna know your story. I wanna be a part of it. Teach me something." Do you work with those people, or you mentioned you only work with people who to get PMP? Are you staying very niche?
So I did open it up to a foundation fundamentals course because I do see a need for that. People have been begging me for. And so I do have a very basic project management course where it talks about waterfall versus agile and the beginning terminology. And so that's how they can get the little flavor from me. And I actually offer a bonus with that. You get a one-on-one, coaching session where we can outline your goals. I gotta talk to people. My team is like, "No, just do the online class like these other companies." I'm like, "But I'm not like these other companies." So I have to speak to the people and help them at least get to the next. That's just in me.
Ah, yep. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I just am processing your entire journey, and I think it's so funny because you are so confident and you are so passionate about helping people get more in their careers, and it's fun to hear that you've gotten 3 coaches along the way to help you with those glass ceilings that it seems like your mind has put you through. What would you say the top 3 mindset shifts with your people that work with you, your clients, what are the top 3 mindset shifts that they go through when they work with you?
The first one is lack of. So a lot of people have this lack of, meaning I can only get this, I can only get that, I can't ask for this, I need to be grateful for that, especially in this economy. How dare I go ask for more? And so that limited mindset, it handcuffs us, it puts us in this um, prison almost,
Yeah.
this society that we just don't deserve or can't ask for things. And so that's the number one thing that I'm gonna break you free of that. I'm gonna break
Yeah.
you free of that. The second thing people walk away with is that project management is fun and your day to day should be fun. Guess what? Um, Tori, like literally, we're with these companies 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week for how many months, years? You gotta kinda like them a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you gotta get married to them, but you need to get in a work environment that's endurable, that's gonna give you something, you give them something, and that you wanna go to. You need a boss that's supportive, And so that is something that they know they can have now. Like, oh, I can actually, look forward to Monday and not have the Sunday scaries. And so
Yes.
that is something they walk away with. And a third thing that they walk away with is it's not about the money. It's what money can buy you, freedom, peace of mind, self-care, intangible things like that. That's why we're doing this. Like I said, it is not about the zeros, it's what the zeros and the commas can afford you.
Mm. If only everybody felt like understood that, right? For the
Absolutely, absolutely.
well, how can people find you? If they want to learn more about you and get connected with you, what's the best way they can find you?
The best way to find me is definitely on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where I hang out, I'm posting, I'm giving inspiration. So find me on LinkedIn. And then you can come to my website at iwantmypmp.com. That is
Awesome.
iwantmypmp.com. Like I said, I have a foundations course on there. I have a little free quiz where you can take a quiz to see if you're actually a project manager. You can schedule a one-on-one consult, and of course, you can register for the PMP boot camp. But all of that is on iwantmypmp.com.
Awesome. We will put the links in the show notes so that way anybody who's interested in doing that can also go there. And I definitely know a lot of people who are in a career shift right now and who could use this information and would love somebody like you in their corner. So I really appreciate you having this conversation with me and taking the time to share.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Well, my friends, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Work Better podcast. I hope you've wrapped up your golden nugget and take it with you on your journey to finish out the week. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, leave a review, or reach out to me personally if you have any special requests for guests or questions you'd like me to share on the show. In the meantime, I'll be over here rooting for you. Until next time.